Ghana's energy sector is back at the center of national debate amid rising fuel costs, persistent concerns over power reliability and mounting sector debt, and fresh government interventions to rescue consumers. Now, the Mahama administration announced a new fuel price relief measure absorbing 0.36 cedis per litre on petrol and 2 cedis per litre on diesel. But oil marketing companies say it is their margins and not government effort. Be behind the relief is important, but irrespective of that, questions around sustainability remain. Beyond the immediate consumer pain, Ghana's energy sector continues to wrestle with debts to IPPs, fuel suppliers, and gas partners, raising concerns over long-term system stability and the fiscal burden on taxpayers. I am Kemeni Amano, and this is Hot Issues. My next guest is Ranking Member of Parliament's Energy Committee and a leading opposition voice on the sector, Kwame George Abuaje. He will help us assess government policy, test the opposition's alternatives, and examine whether Ghana's energy future is being secured or merely politically managed.
Before the applause, before your name meant anything, before they called you leader, dreamer, fighter, star, one woman called you my child. That is where love began. The one who carried you, covered you, believed for you, stayed. Mothers are the roots of love. This Mother's Day, TV3 honors the grace, strength, and beauty of motherhood with an elegant experience built for the women who gave us everything.
It's rather the oil marketing companies. They have rather reduced their margins. So government has not done anything. I think about a month or so, the minority, issued a statement that the government should reduce the taxes. That's the only thing the government can do for Ghanaians, either to reduce the 1 cedi petroleum sector, debt sector that was placed on it, or reduce taxes, because taxes on the build-up alone is over 40%. So we want the government to reduce some of the taxes. But the government declined to do it.
Are you saying the government announcing after the cabinet meeting that they are reducing and removing certain taxes, levies, and margins, it was populism?
Which tax? Which of the taxes that the government reduced? No. Government hasn't reduced any tax. It's rather the oil marketing companies.
How so? How are you getting that information?
Oh, I'm the ranking member for energy. So even not to go far, the COMAC CEO, Dr. I think Roland or so, he came out and said rather it was their margins that they have agreed to reduce their margins. They've reduced 2 cedis on the diesel and then 0.36 cedis on the petrol. It's not government. Government hasn't done anything.
So the
government is refusing to reduce the taxes that we initially want the government to do, but he is refusing to do it.
So the government of the day lied to the Ghanaian public?
I don't know, but I'm giving you the reality.
So what do you think could be going on now?
This is the reality. You may find out from anywhere. This is the reality. It's rather the oil companies who have reduced their margins, their price build-up. It's not the government.
I see. And they reduced their price build-up up to 2 cedis?
Yes.
I see.
That's why I'm saying which of the taxes that have been reduced.
Well,
because government reducing taxes definitely will let us know that I'm reducing taxes on so and so, but it hasn't been done. It's rather the COMAC, that's the oil marketing company. They have reduced their margins.
In a deregulated market like ours, is that not government interference?
For government
for the...
No, COMAC, government did not force COMAC to do it. It's COMAC who...
COMAC decided.
Yeah. They, according to them, they rather came out with that because of the cry of Ghanaians.
Why did they allow government to announce then? COMAC could have brought out their own letter.
No, but, they have a regulator.
Yes.
And the regulator is NPA.
But it is a deregulated
No, I'm saying
market.
it's because NPA also is foregoing his some of his margins. He's part of it. BOST is part of it. The regulator is NPA. Who owns NPA? So definitely, that is why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying we can later on call COMAC CEO and get the exact.
But
yes.
if that be the case, if NPA is losing a little bit, BOST is losing a little bit, we know that these are state-owned, then it means that the government is also giving away something.
These are agencies, okay? Agencies working on their own. We are talking about taxes. What NPA is giving away is not taxes. What BOST is giving away is not taxes. We are talking about the taxes, especially the 1 cedi on the energy sector levy.
Why the 1 cedi?
No, that is just previous. That one is easier to take that out.
Why? Because the government has told you what.
And we are not saying abolish it, suspend it because of the time we are in. The time we are in is not the favorable one. Okay. So at least as a government, who you are working for the state, you are working for your people, okay? Just announce that, okay, the 1 cedi, I'm suspending for maybe 3 months or maybe a month. And because I told you there are price build-up, taxes build-up of about 40%. So even if 10% of that goes away, would Ghana come to a halt? Even COVID, we survive. So they have to do something.
That's a long conversation.
No, that's what I'm saying. Even COVID.
When you tell us even COVID, we survive.
We survive. So he has to do something. It's a very long conversation. No, he has to do something for us also to survive because COVID, without anyone, there were a lot of workers. Some of the workers were not going to work. Only the essential workers were not going to work. Government was paying them. Teachers, they were staying at home, not going to work. Government was paying them.
But your administration at the time also got a lot of global support.
That global support.
Absolutely.
But what they did,
it's one of the six. Ghana was one of the 6 African countries that got a lot of global support during that. Which means that you were cushioned to be able to cushion the public.
What I'm saying.
But in the end, you came back to take the electricity relief you had given us, and by telling us, you didn't tell us it was.
So the cushion they gave us, you see, a country
it was temporary, and you collected it back.
Let me tell you something. A country like Ghana, if outside you are given maybe $1 billion, okay, what does that mean? A country like Ghana, what is our GDP of about over 100 and something billion dollars a year, and you give 1 billion. It's just a small thing in a drop in an ocean, a drop of water in an ocean. So, what the government did during COVID time, a lot of goodies went out, a lot, and the money they gave us, you yourself try and check how much was it. Just suspending tax for just a month or 2, that has become difficult. Now an industry players decided to do something for the state. You've jumped in to take credit, to do politics with it. The government should come back again and tell us where that 2% reduction, 2 cities reduction, and the 30 pesos reduction is coming from.
I mean, the reverse of that will be, what then could be wrong if COMAC or the OMCs decide to reduce their margins to cushion consumers?
It's going to affect them. Even Dr. Roland was saying they were trying to meet GRA for them to delay their tax payment for them. But I think it hasn't been materialized as I'm speaking to you. But that's what I know. It's a fact. And I've spoken to Dr. Roland myself and find out what is what the government said. How is it true? And he said it's rather, he doesn't want to play politics. Yes, he doesn't want to play politics. He doesn't want to come into the political arena that we and the NDC MPP always, we banter. No, but he wants to set the record straight. And the record is rather they have reduced their margin. It's not the government.
I see. What taxes, in your opinion, could have gone?
First of all, the 1 city that was put, I think, last year when the government was saying, okay, because the prices of fuel is down, so they are adding 1 city to the diesel and then the petrol and then I think the LPG. Okay, these are some of the things the government should first show at least commitment with this 1 city first. Then we will know that yes, the government is prepared to relieve Ghanaians of this burden. But as I'm speaking to you, nothing has happened.
This 1 city you talk about, the government has also made a case for fiscal pressures that could occur, by losing so much as that. Does that not concern you?
No, but look at where we are at the moment. Look at the prices of the crude oil at the international market price. Okay, it has happened before in this country during the COVID time. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was paying water bill for Ghanaians for a whole year, reduces electricity prices for about, I think, 50% or so for a whole year, giving the vulnerables food to eat.
Right.
So why do we have a government?
Right.
So in such externalities, he has to come in and support the vulnerables.
And in response to what you have said, the ministry has said that, and this is via their spokesperson, Richmond Roxon. He said the claim that the relief comes solely from industry players and not government is simply incorrect and false. These are revenues legitimately due to the state for the provision of essential services in the downstream sector, which the government has deliberately chosen to forego in order to cushion consumers. It is therefore misleading to suggest that the burden is being borne by the industry or the private sector. The reality is that the government is absorbing this cost in public interest. And I believe they've put that cost to about some 200 million cedis for that 1 month.
That is why I'm saying that I have spoken to Roland myself. I asked him when I heard about it, I asked him about what is going on in the industry.
But the ministry said it's false. But because this is money that should be accrued to government. So government has decided they don't want it.
So they have given it to COMAC or what, the industry players? It's not true. I'm telling you, it's not true.
He says industry players are not absorbing that cost at all.
It's rather industry players. Currently, they are absorbing the cost. Because fine, if you bring in NPA and then BOST, if you bring like BOST, I agree, BOST is for the state, but it's not direct government. BOST and those.
So I mean, so if you were breaking it down, what is the component that is being absorbed by industry?
I can't give you exact figures, but I know NPA also has a build-up margin. BOST has a build-up margin. The other private sector companies, they also have a build-up margin. They are the ones who have reduced their cost.
Right.
It's not the state.
Right.
State collect tax. That's what state do.
And they haven't reduced.
They haven't reduced any taxes.
I see.
That is what I know.
So this 1 month, what the government is doing is starving the members of COMAC.
Yes, rather pushing pressure on COMAC.
On COMAC.
Yes.
What could be the consequences of that?
A lot.
Okay.
Because COMAC, based on our deregulation system, they have to rather look for loans to order whatever. The BDCs and the COMAC, they have to come together. They have to buy the fuel. What they have done now, they have to look for funds to buy the fuel before even selling. Formerly, because of the margins, they know that if they give them credit, it's easier for them to repay back. But now, they themselves have accepted to reduce this build-up. It's going to affect them on their cash flows. And again, GRA, that's why they want to meet GRA and sit down with GRA so that they would delay their taxes. Oh. That's the corporate tax that they are paying.
Is that an arrangement you are aware of?
It has not been done.
Okay.
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay.
Because they want to meet GRA on it so that GRA can delay payment, not that they won't pay, delay payment on their taxes. Because it's all going to affect them. So if it's government, why would they propose this?
I see. So this relief that is coming is because private sector has decided that we will support the Ghanaian people.
Very well.
But it's not a decision the government has taken.
Government, if it's the decision from the government, it has to be on taxes. But this is not on taxes. Yes.
I see. And what government is giving back is the agreement you have said possibly would delay tax payment from these.
It's a proposal they have made.
A proposal they have made.
Whether
Government has not even accepted
or
it
not,
yet.
yes, nothing of that sort has happened.
I see. And so clearly, this is just a temporary measure. It's not something that is sustainable for the medium to long term. What will be the solution, medium to long term?
That is the tax reduction, one. And two, there is crude oil in the system. Assuming there's no crude oil or refined product in the system, the solution is we have to go back to the days where Tor was refining products. That is where we have to go back. Because we are oil producing country. We have royalties to collect from the IOCs. We have carried interest also to collect from the IOCs. So we can take a product out of it without taking money.
Right.
Yes, we can take product, give it to Tor or give it to Sentio for them to refine it, because the value chain of refining crude, there's enormous benefit. Enormous, because why I say so? Because that's where you have naphtha, it's very expensive. We have ammonia, we have pharmaceutical products, a lot of products there. Through that, when we can make extra fund from there than giving our crude oil out easily, taking money, and then we're going to buy the refined product. It's rather we have to make sure Tor get back to his previous days where it was refining our product. We need to do that. That is the long-term measures, and then it's going to be a security for the country, because assuming we are not getting crude at all, what are we going to do? So we have to, based on this war, think about the way forward, the long term. Think about Tor. We have another one, Sentio, a private company. These two entities can handle Ghana's consumption, which I think going forward, this is what the government and both the minority and the majority in parliament, we need to raise this issue at the floor of parliament for the president to take note of it and try to do something about it.
This government has made announcement of a revamped Tor. How would you assess the operation so far?
My sister, in reality, Tor has a problem. We are talking about transition to renewable. So in UK and other, let's say Norway and those who has the refineries. Recently, I was in Amsterdam, and I had the privilege to visit Shell Refinery. Okay, I was taught about their old system of refinery, okay, the pollution, and the current system of refinery. The equipment we have at Tor is the old system, the pollution. We are transitioning to renewables. So a lot of them are absorbing the carbons. So if we have to absorb it, it's not this equipment. We need to change a lot of machines from Tor before it can be of standard. Because we have to be on standard, because we've ascribed to the climate change law, that's the Paris Agreement. We've ascribed to it. So if we have ascribed to it, we need to do things that will not pollute the system. So Tor, as currently, if we say Tor is coming back, with the old system.
We've been told that it's even processing.
Yeah, you are processing, but I'm telling you, how much can you process with the old equipment?
With the old equipment.
Yes, we need to do a lot of retrofitting.
But your government had 8 years to do that. It didn't do any of that.
It didn't do it. And it shouldn't be one government. It should be a policy for the state.
Policy for the
Okay, not one government. It should be a policy. The previous government also tried. That's what I'm saying. It should be a policy. I'm not blaming anyone on Tor. I'm blaming Ghanaians, including me, you, everyone. Yes, Tor needs to be on his feet. There should be a retrofitting of the equipment that they have, okay, to be on the standard, the current stage, the one that I'm saying I saw in Amsterdam. Even if not up to that level, but at least to the level that we all will be satisfied with what they are doing. Because you cannot continue the old way refinery and polluting the world. It will be a time, even a product from Ghana here going to Europe, I'm telling you, they will pay carbon tax on it. Because if we pollute with the old system, it's rather we have to try and retrofit the equipment, and then so that when we refine the carbon that has been captured, okay, we can even do something with the captured carbon, bury it or do something. Because in I think UK or so, they are turning it into hydrogen, which also is another form of renewables. So please, the current Tor, fine, they are doing it, but we need to put in much effort for them to reach the level everyone is expecting.
Speaking of renewable energy, what can we, or what should we be targeting in this country to properly integrate renewable energy in our energy mix?
The previous government did a lot on renewables.
Right. So it's not just Kalio?
No. Yeah, okay. Yendi, and then Bui, there is a floating one on Bui. And I think before they left, I know one of Greater Accra that the documentation, everything, I think on the area also, documentation has already been done, and this government also has continued it, which is a good idea. On renewables, we need to do a lot, but for the meantime, we are going to go side by side with the
crude as fuel.
With the fossil fuel. Yeah, we need to go side by, especially with gas. Yes, because gas has been termed transition fuel, which all over the world, gas, because if you said UK is saying 2050, they will transit to net zero. And Ghana also is saying 2070, we will transit to net zero. I don't think 2070 Ghana own is possible, because in terms of development gap, UK is far ahead. So if UK is doing 2050 and we are saying 2070, I don't think it's true. We can do it. But that is what we've committed to the climate change law. That's the Paris Agreement. That's what we've committed to it. But let's hope for the best. But we need to do a lot. I have some article that I'm going to put out soon. It's on the future of West African energy, because we have so vast energy on solar. The high solar radiation, okay, concentrated around Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. But because of security issues, this is where these countries, the West African countries, need to come together, and this high solar power radiation concentrator in these areas need to be tapped, because there is currently, when the grid, we have a powerful grid over 700 something of that sort currently. It's in the which we have previously. It wasn't like that, but we don't have in Ghana. I don't think we have in Ghana, but which we can use to transmit all the way from maybe Burkina or Niger or wherever we will concentrate it, because we have Savannah, Sahara there. You can't plant anything there. You can't do anything on that land. So it will be better in future. These countries should come together and put a very big solar plant. What we are doing in our places is good, but it takes a lot of landscape. That is my worry, because the one in Yendi, when you go there, landscape, that we can do something on it.
Right.
Okay? Can grow food or something else on it. But the one on the Bui, the floating one, is laudable. And I learned VRA also is going to also do the floating one. So, and again, the wind, also we can use also wind to also generate power. There are a lot of countries who are into the wind down. They have, even the wind has become major renewable power to them,
right,
which I know some countries are into that. We can also use tidal waves, because in the Qatar area, there's a lot of tidal waves which can also be converted into power.
This government has shown itself to better handle the power sector. Do you disagree?
There's dumsor now almost everywhere. I don't know if you've not experienced it.
Where? In which part of the country?
On Sunday, when I was coming back from constituency, I experienced it from Adesu all the way to Ebri, light off. And I went to constituency again yesterday when I was coming back from Eyi Mensa all the way to Adenta area, light off. I don't know what has happened, because last year we were told the last quarter tariff increment, they are going to use that amount on new transformers and cables and whatever. But as I'm speaking to you, I don't know why. And the minister hasn't come out, or anyone from the ministry hasn't come out to tell us.
Is it dumsor? Because the ministry has explained that they are doing some transformer upgrades. So some of the stations.
No, they are doing it at
they've talked about parts of the Greater Accra region. They indicate that anytime they have.
I gave you Adesu, coming all the way from Adesu.
No, I remember the Greater Accra region. That's why I have mentioned it clearly. But they are doing a nationwide transformer and substation upgrades. So occasionally they turn things off. You don't believe them?
I'm not saying I don't believe them.
Okay. That could be responsible
they are working with stakeholders, the consumers, they are stakeholders. So if tomorrow you are going to keep the light off in some areas, what do? You have to use the medium to let us know that this area from so and so, give us a schedule, that from so and so hours to so and so hours, there's going to be light off. Yeah, then people will agree to it. I think about Monday or Tuesday, there was rain. I think it rains on Monday or Tuesday. I've forgotten the day. There was light off for about 5 hours. At that night, were they
doing
system upgrade or what? In the night, it happens around 11 o'clock in the night. I experienced it in my area. From around 11 to 4 o'clock, I experienced it. Is that system upgrade?
I see. What do you think it could be?
I don't know. They have to tell us. I have no idea.
No, but so, you have said...
Because you asked the question of dumsor. So that also, or is it dumsor or what? They have to tell us. I don't know what is going on.
So you don't think that this government is better managing the energy sector?
They created
the power sector.
They created the program. Okay. So if they are managing it well...
How so?
it goes to the credit will goes to them because they created the problem.
When you say they created the problem,
yes, in 2015, 2016, they created the problem.
What problem?
The capacity charges, all the contracts that they sign with huge capacity charges, whereby at that particular moment, we don't need those power. Okay? You need to project every year how much do we need.
Right.
Ghana, what capacity are we consuming every year? Then you project it. If it's 5-10%, okay? So if you are signing a contract, you sign a contract of maybe 3 or 4 years. Because you know we don't have the money. But you sign all this contract and put a burden on Ghanaians, and later on said a different government, because the previous government was paying over $500 million every year without using the power on capacity charges. So you created this problem, and now you say you are solving the problem.
Well, the argument has been that because of those contracts they signed, which your government subsequently renegotiated, that is what gave you the stability, particularly in the first term of the previous administration, the first 4 years.
But as I'm speaking to, Ghana have installation capacity of about 5,600 megawatts. But the last time we were at the peak, it was 4,070. We always around 3,600, 3,700. So if you sign a contract in 2015 up to 5,600 megawatts, and over 10 years or I think 10 years now, you can't even consume all. So what was the use for you to sign such contracts? 10 years now, down the lane, we will not be able to consume all.
We are still not consuming all.
Yes, we are around, that's what I'm saying, the peak that we have able to reach was 4,070.
Is that peak generation capacity or peak use?
It was peak use.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you have the capacity of 5,600. You have signed contract. Whether you use it or not, once you have signed contract with them, you have to pay them because they today went and borrow money to come and fund the project. So definitely you have to pay them for them to pay their creditors. So the peak that we have experienced in this country was 4,070 megawatts.
I see.
And at a normal time, 3,600, 3,000, maybe 700 megawatts.
I mean, so 10 years on, what would be your suggestion on curing that problem?
Yeah, that's why I don't want them to say they are solving the problem.
No, I mean, but
because
beyond
they
that,
created the problem. So they should keep quiet on that and try to solve it.
how do we
Because if a government has been in power 8 years and was able to, calm nerves down, all these problems were there. For 8 years, you came in and you are coming to talk about that problem. Don't even talk about it. What I want them to talk is, how are we going to solve the over 30 to 35% waste in the electricity sector?
Is it really waste, or we tend to export them to our neighbors? We do export, don't we?
We have still waste.
Even after exporting, we have waste.
We have waste.
Okay, let's talk a bit more about this when we come back from the break. We'll look at how to deal with the energy sector, in fact, particularly the power sector money crisis for the long term and for the benefit of the Ghanaian people. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's still hot issues here on TV3. My guest is the ranking member on Parliament's Energy Committee. He's also the Member of Parliament for Asne Manso Akroso, Honorable George Kwame Abuaje. Honorable, I appreciate your time with us. But before we went on the break, we talked about the power sector, which sits on the laps of ECG, some of the infrastructure revamp they are going through. And you've taken issue with the government of the day that it caused the problem that we see today. Where we are now today is how to cure that problem, right? And you say even when we export, we still lose money. And so what do we do?
Losing money is not about the exporting. No, I'm not talking about that. It's maybe minute of it.
Okay.
But the real challenge is with the distribution sector.
Right.
Okay. The transmission sector, that's from Gridco side, they are almost there. They are doing around 2% losses. That's the technical losses, 2%, which is at the same power with international best practice. So definitely transmitting power, there will be losses. Okay, both technical losses, they will be there. But commercial losses, that's something that we need to do away with it. ECG is a big company. Technical losses, yes, they have to. But it shouldn't be 30-something%. Because if you add the transmission from the Gridco to ECG, you are almost around 30-something%. And then ECG challenges are with the commercial losses, right, which they need to do something about that. We've talked about it. The losses mostly stem from maybe one, power theft, and two, non-payment of bills by some industries and ordinary Ghanaians, ordinary citizens, that's normal consumers. That is where the challenges are. And these two things are causing a lot to the state or to ECG utility sector, because UCG has to collect the money. There's a lot of institutions that depend on that money, a lot. Now, we've unbundled the system, okay, which we have the generation aspect. The generators, we have both private and state entity, like VRA also is part, BUI is part. GRA deals with both thermal and hydro, which is good. The generation, there's no much problem, but they have to get money from ECG. The work that ECG does, that is where GRA is going to get money. That is where Gridco, who transmit the power, that's where also going to get money. So there are a lot of waste at the distribution sector. So that is where we Ghanaians has to concentrate, our eyes has to be, and be on ECG for them. At times, a lot also doesn't come from them. Also at times when they want to prosecute some entity, a big hand from somewhere also will be on them.
So you politicians interfere?
Not necessarily politicians. A big hand may not always be a politician. Somewhere, fine. Politicians also
it's usually the people with the power.
Yes. So these are some of the things. So we have a huge challenge at the distribution sector. That is where we need to work. Because there is money there. If we are able to work and sanitize the area, make it efficiently, I'm telling you, we are adding one city, we are doing this, will be thing of the past. Because it's non-payment of some bills that government is saying, I'm putting one city on levy, fuel levy, so that I can get money. Why will a generating company, let's say government would say, I'm buying fuel for a generating company. Yes, government buy fuel for the generators, the thermal generators. So why should it happen so? The generators should buy their fuel, okay, work, ECG will have to pay them. But will ECG be able to pay them? That is where the challenges are.
I see.
So there is a lot of issues.
I want us to look closely at the fuel financing because it's a very big problem in the power sector. Yes. But despite what you have said about ECG, we know that since this government took over, they have announced a very high profits. In fact, they said 90% more than you did in your last year. Figure that has been contested, but since the government has said it, we'll work with that, or you don't believe them?
If you increase electricity tariff over 28%, and you come and tell me the figure that you've gotten has gone up.
Well,
look at it. You've increased the tariff over 28% accumulatively. Okay? And now you are telling me it's because of your efficient way, that's why you are getting that money. No. It's as a result of increasing the tariffs.
Increasing tariffs.
Very well.
But your time, you also increased tariffs.
Yes, but we did not come out and tell you. But let me tell you, we put something.
Hang on. The question I'm asking is that when you increase, you didn't even increase your profit for us to hear that you had reached 90% in profits. Am I wrong?
All the settings. All they are doing is settings.
I see.
I'm telling you. You see, during our time, we try to work on the waste, and some of the measures put in place was the smart meters.
Right.
Yeah, because if you fix a smart meter in your home, because of your Ghana card and your address system, the electronic address system, the digital address system, based on that, if you tamper with the meter, okay, the ECG officer in his office, controlling or control room or whatever, knows what you are doing with it. When they came, they have stopped. Because at that particular moment, go and check from 2024, okay, no, I think 2024 or 2023, I've forgotten the exact year, September to December, the increment, there was an increase of 30% of revenue based on...
30% of revenue?
Yes, okay. Based on this smart meter issue. It tells you that when we go out all on these issues, we are going to solve some of the problem of the the waste that we are talking about. So it's not just about increasing the tariff. That will give you extra increase. We have to work towards it. There has to be a proper work in place to cure the waste that are in place.
What would that proper work look like? What do we need?
These are some of the things I'm talking about.
You are an energy economist. How do we deal with that sector promptly to reduce the commercial losses? Because obviously the smart meters, by themselves, have not given us the wholesome solution we are looking for.
No, they stop. They are not using it. They've stopped it.
I see.
Yes, it's not something that, because the previous government it was a pilot scheme.
Oh, okay.
Okay, based on the pilot scheme, they were able to see that, okay, we are getting an increase of 30% on the tariffs. Okay, so if this new government was able to continue it, because after pilot scheme, a report may be there. You have to go through the report and see if it's good or bad. Then you let us know. But they are mute on that. We don't know what actually is going on. So if you ask me, what do we do in our time? This is what we try doing. And don't forget, the cash waterfall mechanism also was in place.
But your tenure did not follow the cash waterfall mechanism, which is what drove up our debts to our stakeholders, particularly the IPs.
This is a contested question because actually I was not in position then.
I agree.
Okay, but speaking to the MD at the time will tell you, no, it's not true. They were making payment to their creditors.
They were making some payments, not all the payments.
I cannot say some or, but according to him, they were making payment. Because definitely they cannot finish paying all the debt that they owe. So if you say some, fine, I agree. Because I know they were making payment. So that is it. So there was a lot that the previous administration was putting in place to try and solve this waste. Because if we don't solve this waste, I'm not saying it was created by the NDC government or by MPP government, but created by we Ghanaians. Because it's we Ghanaians who are using the power that some don't want to pay. Those who are connecting illegally, they are a lot. You go to some people's home, let me tell you go to some people's home, their heavy appliances don't go through meters. I'm telling you, this is somewhere we have to start from. Yes. Because we have to bring in Energy Commission, because Energy Commission trains those people who do wiring and all those things, because some of them are the cause of all these things. So this is where we have to start from. I'm not blaming any government on this, but we have to work on it and try much, if possible, separate the distribution aspect and have a retailing aspect, okay? ECGs should be solely on distribution. Then we should have a different entity, not a private company, okay? But the unbundled system, when you go to even the developed ones who said we should go into privatization, they just liberalize their unbundled system. Not all of them are privatized, okay? So we can create a separate entity that deals with the retailing and collection.
So we should privatize aspects.
Not privatize. Not private is given to private. A state can handle that. A state entity can handle it. That's why I'm saying liberalize, but in an unbundled situation, because we unbundle the system. That's the generation, the transmission, distribution, and retail and collection. Yes, the retail and collection we can give to a state entity, a different entity. We can create a new entity for that. Not necessarily giving to
what you're
a private
asking,
person.
again, to understand, we should decouple ECG from
the distribution. ECG should take the distribution, and then retailing and collection should be a different entity.
And that entity could be multiple entities, because we want to create a liberal market for retail.
Thank you. Very well.
I see. Does that create, what does that create for the sector?
Because I distribute power to you, but I'm not the one coming to collect money from you. I'm not the one coming, I'm not the retailer. So definitely, I will make sure right things are done. But I distribute power to you. I'm the one collecting money to you. There's a lot.
I see. And we cannot strengthen ECG to be able to do that?
No, they are overloaded.
They are overloaded with what?
With the distribution aspect, a lot of work. Today, transformer here has done this. Today, transformer here has done that. So even the ECG aspect, we can divide ECG into two. Okay, one aspect retailing, but there are no more ECG. There are no more parts with ECG. Okay, those who want to go on the retailing side, now they are doing retailing, right, and collection. So that one can be a different company,
right,
whereby the distribution aspect, the engineering and other things will be a different aspect.
I see. Another aspect in the power sector would want to look at outside of financing and management of ECG will be fuel costs, and it has a nexus with the current crisis we are seeing. Do you expect electricity costs to go up soon?
Why should it go up?
Because the cost of fuel has gone up.
Electricity are being increased quarterly. That is what is quarterly. That's what is being done in this country. The last quarter supposed to be April, that was April 1st. And we heard the news that it has been reduced by, I think, 4% or so.
Sure.
Yeah. So the next window...
remember that reduction was based on circumstances at the time, including the stabilization of the currency. So in the new window, with the current circumstances... So
we have to wait.
Will it be okay?
We have to wait the next 3 months. That is, it will be somewhere end of June. And end of June, we will see what is going to happen.
No, but
with the war, maybe then it has stopped. There are a lot of factors, madam, because some of the factors are the exchange rate. But then these boast themselves of stabilizing the cedi, which to me now I would say, okay.
You admit now.
Another factor is inflation. The inflation, according to them, has come down that it has never happened, unprecedented. That's the word.
According to them, you don't believe it?
Not that I don't believe it, because what should I say? We are all in the country, whether you believe it or not. But to me, exchange rate, and then inflation, these are some of the factors. It's not only the oil prices alone. So the factors are many that goes into it before a tariff can be increased. So we shouldn't take only one aspect and said because of gas. And on the electricity aspect, we use much gas in this country. That is, much of our thermal plant uses gas. The one that uses DFO and LCO, I think there are not many, maybe one or two plants. Or mostly all the thermal plants are using gas. So gas too, we are getting from Nigeria. Gas price, I've not seen it. Maybe it has gone up or not, I've not seen it. And don't forget the government in the budget also mentioned a gas price of about 8 or something like that. Recently, if you remember, we just have an agreement with the producers, the oil IOCs in this country, to peg gas price at 2 cedis and 95 cents. Okay, before Parliament will rise that, we were able to pass that agreement with the IOCs. So aside the end gas, that's the Nigerian gas, aside that, I don't think there is any, the gas hasn't gone up.
So you don't think in the next 3 months
So the next 3 months,
there's no reason.
I don't see, what reasons are they going to give that based on this, we have to increase electricity? These are the things that I'm telling you. And the Akosomo today has been raining. So, and the last increment, they said they are going to buy equipment with that. So we know equipment also, based on the last increment, they are going to buy it. So we don't have any major issue for them to come and say, because of A or B, we are increasing. No, I don't think so.
Is Ghana energy secure, would you say?
This is a big question, because the fuel in boxed tanks, you see, the fuels that are in boxed tanks, the fuel with toll mostly are private entities.
Even Bost?
Yes. Yeah, it's the private entities that keeps their products there.
I thought Bost was supposed to be the buffer for
Very well.
The public.
Very well.
For the state.
So mostly the last time I checked, they were having, I think, about 4, 5 to 6 weeks reserves, which I think if you ask me of fuel secured, as for energy per se, we are not yet there.
We're not there.
Yeah, but we have to work towards that.
In terms of storage, because I'm surprised by the boss comment you made. In terms of storage, what can we do to ensure that we have something to fall back on in a prolonged global shock?
As we are developing, then we need to also project it. We have a lot of energy guys in the system. The government has to try and sit down with some of these energy guys. I know one energy expert with them. If I say with them, with government, he was appointed, I think, last year or so. I don't want to mention his name. I think he's someone, if only the government will listen to him, they will try much much as possible to do something about it. But we need to have energy, how would I put it? Maybe a conference or something of that sort to think about these issues, because as I'm speaking to you, if we have only up to 6 weeks, which is not the best, if we have a prolonged war and crude oil is not coming at all, fine, we are a producing nation, we can depend on our own. Maybe we can use at that time, the force majeure that will be in place just to negotiate for us to get whatever we produce in this country. Not necessarily the one that comes to us, but whatever goes to even the IOCs. Because we can use force majeure clause to also negotiate on certain things, but we haven't gotten there yet, because there are a lot of...
How long do you think it would take for us to get to the point where we can say this country is energy dependent, is energy secure?
We have a long way to go, and we need to commit on the sector, because the sector is very somewhere that demands a lot of funding, okay? So we need to go deeper, and I'm happy that we need to also try and find gas. That is the solution. That's one aspect of it. And then, you know, if you've heard of the Votain Basin, the previous government was able to speed up a lot of things, and I'm happy this government also is continuing in it. The Votain Basin comprises a lot of vast land, and it's going to be on a land-based this thing. So exploration has been going on for quite some time now, which the last time we met GMPC, which means they are trying to explore 1 or 2 areas to see the quantity that is available before they will do appraisal to know exact amount that are on the ground. Okay, so this it will take a long time, but we need to be consistent, because whatever you are doing and you want to succeed, you need to be consistent, especially on our energy sector. And the blame game is the previous government. It's the previous government. The blame game, it doesn't solve problems. The government also should know that he's not the only person who can understand all the energy sector. It's not a repository of knowledge on energy all the time. No, there are people also whom the government has to bring on board to also support and help them for us to achieve the energy security that we are all looking for. It's very important that when you go outside this country, people, especially in African countries, people hail you that in your country you have a consistent power. But we are in, we know that we need to do more for us to reach there.
And it's really important what you have said, particularly with the gas. Owning those gas pipelines could help ease the pressure on fuel costs. Because you remember at the beginning of this administration, they faced the issue of fuel when they told us that they had come to meet nearly only about 2 days of fuel supply, and they had to find money very fast so that the economy does not collapse because of a lack of power. That is also settings.
It's settings. You see, that's why I'm telling you that the government has to stop those settings and collaborate with us and work with everyone for us to achieve the energy security we are looking. Because if industries will grow, we have a lot of unemployment youth in this country, if you know, and we need industries to absorb all this youth. Yeah. So if we get industries, what about energy? You need energy to power this industry before we can absorb this youth. So energy is,
non-negotiable.
I would say it's a human right of every nation. I borrowed this word from Ajay Banga, that's the World Bank president. Say it's a human right.
It's a human right.
Yes.
Looking back, is there anything that the NPP could have done better in the energy sector while it was in office?
We did a lot.
But is there anything that you could have done differently?
Oh, definitely any government that goes out, when you are out, you could see things that if I was there, I could have done this, I could have done this. Any government would have done that.
Like what? Is there anything at all that the or members of the...
Some of this waste that I'm talking about, and ECG, I'm sure by now it will have reduced because the measures that has been put in place and how it was going. By now, I'm sure it could have been gone. I think even if it will remain, maybe about 15 or 16%, maybe by now.
Why didn't you mention your handling of ESLA?
That is, you see, I told you the energy sector, the debt was caused by them. We did a lot on them
because then you have put together
because we are paying excess capacity of over $500 million of not using power. And don't you think also add pressure on the government?
But Honorable, it's dishonest if I ask you, what is one thing you look back and you think you can do better, and you don't name one of your biggest problems while you were in office?
You want to tell me that the ECG problem is not a problem. The waste in the ECG is not a problem.
I'm not saying
because immediately a tariff is increased. But
what I'm saying,
Ghanaians shout.
What I'm saying is that you are minimizing the inefficiencies of the NPP's handling of the energy sector while it was in office.
What are some of the inefficiencies?
I have talked about ESLA. I've talked about your
that's what
handling
I'm telling
of
you. I'm telling you that the ESLA, what did they were paying. They were paying some of the debt because they came to meet those debts and they were paying. They met it. It's not they did not create those debts. You know it. They did not create the debt. And I've told you what causes those debts. I've told you.
Honorable, I hate that we have to end on a cliffhanger because there's more to this debate at this point. But that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, my sister.
Honorable George Kwame Abuaje is Member of Parliament for Asne Manso Akroso. He's also the ranking member on Parliament's Energy Committee. My name is Kemini Amano, and this is Hot Issues.